You've been doing everything right. Eating less, cutting calories, staying disciplined, and somehow the scale hasn't moved in weeks. Maybe it's even gone up. And before you blame yourself, before you assume you just lack willpower, I need to tell you something that changes everything. The diet you're following might actually be the reason your body stopped losing weight. Not because you're failing at it, because it's working against your biology. Today we're going to talk about one of the most popular dietary approaches in the world right now, why millions of people swear by it, and why, for a significant portion of those people, it is quietly, systematically slowing down their metabolism. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what's happening inside your body, whether this applies to you and what you can actually do about it. Let's start with something most diet influencers never talk about. Your metabolism is not a fixed engine. It's adaptive. It responds to signals. It listens to what you're eating, how much you're eating, and how often you're eating. And when it senses prolonged restriction, it does what any survival system does. It conserves. It slows down. Scientists call this adaptive thermogenesis, and it is one of the most powerful and underappreciated forces working against long-term weight loss. Now here's where it gets interesting. The diet responsible for triggering this response in millions of people is chronic caloric restriction, specifically the kind embedded in very low-calorie diets. We're talking about eating plans that drop daily intake to somewhere between 500 and 1,200 calories per day. These diets go by different names, different packaging, different celebrity endorsements, but the mechanism underneath is identical, and that mechanism is metabolic adaptation. Here's what actually happens. When you slash your calories dramatically, your body registers the deficit as a threat, not a fitness goal, a threat. Your hypothalamus, which is essentially your body's command center for energy balance, detects the drop in fuel coming in and begins coordinating a whole body response to compensate. Thyroid hormone output decreases. Leptin levels fall. Your sympathetic nervous system dials back. Your muscles become more metabolically efficient, meaning they burn fewer calories, doing the same amount of work. Even your body temperature drops slightly to conserve energy. The result is that your total daily energy expenditure can decrease by anywhere from 15 to 40% beyond what you'd expect just from losing body mass. Think about that. You've cut your calories by half, and your body responds by cutting its calorie burn almost in half, too. The gap you were counting on to create fat loss narrows. Eventually, it closes. And then you're stuck. This isn't a new discovery. Research on this goes back decades. But the most striking evidence came from the long-term follow-up study of participants from the television show The Biggest Loser. Contestants who lost massive amounts of weight through severe caloric restriction had metabolisms that remained significantly suppressed 6 years later. Not months, years. Their resting metabolic rates were hundreds of calories lower than would be predicted for people of their size and age. Their bodies had essentially recalibrated to a new, lower baseline. What makes this particularly insidious is the hormonal trap it creates. As leptin drops, hunger signals intensify. You feel hungrier while burning fewer calories. Your body is simultaneously pushing you to eat more and spending less. That combination is not a character flaw, it is physiology. And it explains why people who diet aggressively often experience intense rebound weight gain the moment they return to normal eating. Their metabolism is running slow, their hunger is running high, and any surplus goes straight into storage. Now let's talk about muscle, because this is another piece that gets overlooked. Very low-calorie diets almost universally result in muscle loss alongside fat loss. And muscle is metabolically expensive tissue. It burns calories at rest. When you lose it, your metabolism slows further. Studies consistently show that without adequate protein and resistance training, people on severely restricted diets can lose significant lean mass, which compounds the metabolic suppression already happening from the caloric deficit itself. And here is the psychological layer that nobody wants to address. These diets are often marketed with the promise of quick results, which they do deliver initially. You lose weight fast in the first few weeks. That immediate feedback feels rewarding. It feels like proof the diet is working, and it reinforces the behavior. But the body is simply shedding water weight and glycogen stores early on. The harder, slower process of actual fat loss is already being undermined by the metabolic slowdown happening in the background. By the time you realize the progress has stalled, you're already deep in an adaptive state that takes real effort to reverse. So, what do you do if you've been stuck in this cycle? There are a few evidence-based strategies that can help restore metabolic rate over time. The first is a reverse diet. This involves very gradually increasing your caloric intake over weeks, giving your metabolism time to upregulate without triggering massive fat storage. The increase is small, maybe 100 calories per week, but the signal it sends to your body is powerful. It begins to trust that fuel is available and starts spending more freely. The second strategy is prioritizing protein. Protein has the highest thermic effect of any macronutrient, meaning your body burns more calories just digesting it. It also spares muscle mass during weight loss, which protects your resting metabolic rate. Research consistently supports intakes of at least 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight for people in a fat loss phase, and possibly higher if you've been in prolonged restriction. Third is resistance training. Building or maintaining muscle mass is one of the most effective tools for keeping metabolism elevated long-term. Even 3 sessions per week of progressive strength work can make a measurable difference in how many calories your body burns at rest. This matters enormously if you've lost lean mass during a period of very low-calorie eating. Fourth, manage your stress and sleep. Cortisol, which is your primary stress hormone, can interfere with thyroid function and promote fat storage, particularly around the midsection. Chronic poor sleep elevates ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone, and suppresses leptin. Both of these hormonal shifts work directly against your metabolic recovery efforts. Now, I want to be careful here about something. I'm not saying that caloric deficits don't work, because they do. Energy balance is real. You cannot escape the fundamentals of thermodynamics. But the size and duration of the deficit matters enormously. A moderate, sustainable deficit, something in the range of 200 to 500 calories below maintenance, is far more metabolically friendly than aggressive restriction. It allows you to lose fat while preserving muscle, keeping hormones more stable, and avoiding the worst of the adaptive response. The diet industry has a perverse incentive structure. Extreme diets produce fast initial results, which generate testimonials and before and after photos. Those photos sell programs. The fact that 80 to 90% of people regain the weight within a few years is treated as a failure of personal discipline rather than a predictable biological outcome of the approach itself. You were not weak. You were working against a system designed by millions of years of evolution to keep you alive during famine. Understanding your metabolism as a responsive, adaptive system rather than a static calculator changes how you approach weight management entirely. You stop trying to outrun your biology and start working with it. You eat enough to support your activity, Prioritize the foods that keep your hormones balanced, build the muscle that keeps your engine running hot, and give your body the consistency it needs to feel safe enough to let go of stored energy. The most effective diet is never the most extreme one. It is the one that respects your physiology, fits your life, and is sustainable over months and years, not just weeks. If you found this valuable, share it with someone you know who's been stuck on a diet that stopped working. And if you want to go deeper on how to rebuild your metabolism after restriction, the next video is exactly what you need to watch.